This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us. Check out IWC, RWA, and more. And listeners like you, support this show at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show.
Hungry as fuck, but I ain't starving yet. Chain for the pain, cocktail bar set. Never said I was a gangster or thug, but I'm an animal. Peanut for the taste of the fly.
It is the Indy Mayhem Show. I'm Mike Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitter here in the Sorgatron Media Studios in Pittsburgh, PA. And this is the show where we talk with people in and around independent professional wrestling. A lot of great conversations we've had on this show. I look forward to this being yet another one here as we try to close out our interviews for 2019. I want to end those out on a hot note here. But first, please go check out everything at IndyWrestling.us, WrestlingMayhemShow.com, where you can find other great wrestling action, including a lot of people we have on the show are featured over at IndyWrestling.us in action on the YouTube, on the Twitch, on the Indy Wrestling Network, and so much more. And, of course, a lot of the other interviews and other podcasts over at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. You can drop us a line at goodtimes@WrestlingMayhemShow.com or 412-206-WMS0. If you have any questions for anybody we may have announced on our Facebook page as being on the show, or you can even join us on the chat room if you're following us on social media, on Facebook in particular, or if you have somebody that we have not had on the show you think would be a good conversation, please hit us up. We're always looking to expand. Hey, we can only watch so much wrestling, and most of it's in primetime these days, so it's kind of tough. So let us know if there's anybody we're missing out on there and should be connecting with, and we're definitely following out. And we've got a lot of really interesting interviews based on that. That's how we talked to a boar from Moldavia a while ago that I just reposted over on the YouTube. So with us today is somebody that has made a splash. He kind of returned to the area or something. We're gonna go through all that
a little bit,
but it seemed to pop up out of nowhere and seemed to be at like every promotion I've been at the last few months here. But the Trophy Boy Tyler Klein with us in studio. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So first of all, before we get into that story, let's start at the beginning, as we like to do on this show.
Oh.
What is your earliest memory of pro wrestling?
Let's see. Quite honestly, my parents turning it off when I was 6. Because when I was little, they were a little overprotective, and I think at some point somebody cursed, and it was just a real fast click.
Oh, was this Attitude Era, maybe, or probably a little bit after that, right?
No, probably a little before that. Quite honestly, I think it was a Hulk Hogan match. I was probably like 7.
NWO?
No, it wasn't even that.
Really?
Yet. I'm old. I just look good. I look young for my age.
So was it a little bit of defiance of the parents to try to watch it some more?
Yeah, actually, when I got into high school and they had like satellite and stuff like that, I grew up in South Jersey, so I would actually turn on, CZW at night. I go down. Yeah, I know. I go downstairs to like the satellite dish we had hooked up. We had a living room that was detached from the house, so I'd literally just go in there and turn on CZW and watch that, which is like one extreme cursing to all that violence all in one go. So
yeah, it was like ECW on another level, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was pretty. It was pretty graphic. I do remember that when I was.
So CZW had like a cable satellite show?
They did. It was a local.
Okay.
So it was it broadcast. My parents lived in the boondocks, so we had like DirecTV and stuff like that, and we would just. I would go downstairs. It only played at like 1:00 in the morning, so they slept up in the attic and everything else like that. And I was like second floor, so I'd sneak downstairs to the bottom floor and just watch it for an hour, and then go back upstairs and just go to sleep, just to have like something, because it was very much outlawed for a while in my house because I had younger siblings.
So it was your fix was the extreme more than that. The I guess that'd be all you'd be able to get with that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't at that point. I mean, I'd been watching it I've been watching up until a certain point, like WWF stuff like that. Like always got over on the characters more so than characters and story and stuff like that, because obviously flashy, kind of my thing. But I kind of I kind of like that when there's a really good character and, you know, really good story. That's my favorite part about everything. And a lot of the characters that were in like the early CZW were really kind of over the top as far as like what they came out as and stuff like that. So I always thought that was pretty cool.
Explain a little bit, those that maybe, you know, aren't familiar with that era of CZW, like what kind of stuff was coming out of there at the time?
At the time, it was the later show. It wasn't much of the sort of like deathmatchy kind of matches. It wasn't like all, no, not blood, nothing like that. It was really when people started doing the more, you know, high flying spots, stuff like that. A lot less safe, that's for sure. A lot less safe looking because people are just going in and trying, you know, whatever they could. So it was pretty cool to watch.
And putting it on TV.
Yeah, it's like of course the whole disclaimer: do not try this at home.
Yeah,
I'm
sure nothing will go wrong.
Yeah, on there for a good 5 minutes before it actually decided to, you know, before it actually decided to start. But they filmed their shows in Deptford, New Jersey, from what I remember, like when they first started doing it over the TV, because that was only about 40 minutes from where I used to live. So it was like a local broadcast. I never made it up to a show. I mean, there were shows, just very small promotions that would come down to like the local high school when I was in elementary school. And my dad took me to one. I believe King Kong Bundy was on it. So it was one of those things. I went with my little brother and I was sitting there thinking, you know, just watching it with them. My dad knew that I still liked to watch it, but I was trying so hard to be like, no, I'm not in. No, this isn't cool.
Inside you're just like, this is so awesome. It's
I'm just sitting there like, no, this is really cool. It's like I'm kind of hooked. So that was pretty much my introduction to it. I mean, the like early WWF stuff like that was really the big thing, and continuing on. So here I am now. So
so what was the point where you kind of wanted to get in there?
I always had. I actually, when I was in college, when I grew up in New Jersey, it was really like there was nothing to do. So it was, I had to get out and experience like different things. So I went to college in South Carolina, and there's quite a few like schools down there. And I thought about looking into it, but school's more important. Joined a couple of things, went to a couple of local shows with a guy. Actually had class with a guy who was training and going to college at the same time. And then life kind of just got in the way a little bit. And I kind of moved around from like Columbia up to Greenville and started working there and was looking into a school there. And then some stuff happened and I actually, moved to Boston. And when I was in Boston, I was helping out a friend with something. I was like, who was a wrestler. I'd known him for a while. And he taught me some stuff because I was always interested in learning. And I went to a school where I trained originally and was helping them out with stuff and working a little bit. And the head trainer there literally like stopped me. He's like, so where did you train at prior to this? And I looked at him, I was like, I haven't been formally trained. So then he offered me, he's like, well, come back this day. And then I came back and started training. And after about a year, I started helping them with training some of their people that were there. I helped train more character-driven stuff. I mean, moves and all that I helped out with too, but like telling people like, you have to get like stand out, be a character. What do you want to be? Like I kind of based who I am in wrestling against my, what I'm opposite of in real life. So loud, obnoxious. I try to be that. That's kind of actually coagulated into my real life now, so it's just kind of like there's no separation anymore at this point.
So that always seems to be the thing. Like it seems like the loud, bodacious. I always see the heels are usually the nicest guys.
No,
right?
yeah, no, no. Yeah, sometimes, but yeah, no. I mean, it's kind of worked its way into my real life where the eye roll or just being very loud and obnoxious will work.
So it sounds like you kind of created this big bodacious version of you, and then that kind of like rolled back confidence into
it did
ring.
Actually, it was funny because I used to be very shy, not willing to not very social, not really anything, and then I was like, I came up with Tyler, and I'm just like, what? It's like, let's just kind of see where this goes, and I found myself losing more, not being shy anymore, not being quiet, and just kind of being loud and obnoxious, obviously, because of how I'm dressed too. Go figure. But yeah, just pulling that little bits and pieces, and now it's just kind of gone into just crazy nut show, basically, every day.
So tell me a bit about what is the trophy boy? What is Tyler Klein?
So Tyler is the extremely judgmental and extremely fashionable designer to all the wrestling
If
world.
you're on audio, he is wearing a
I've got my measuring tape.
Yes.
My trusty measuring tape
Just
that I don't use for illegal things.
Paint the entire picture here.
But no, basically I am trying one poor helpless soul at a time to make wrestling, more fashionable, because there are some tragic cases out there.
Usually me at ringside, but yes, I understand.
No, I mean, you've seen some of the people I've wrestled, so I mean, come on now. I mean, gotta try my best, but there is a lot of work that needs to be done.
Obviously. I also love you've come out a couple times that I filmed you with a book.
Yes.
Now, and it got involved, and I remember I think it was at Uprise. It got thrown out of the ring and opened up, and I realized there was actually something in the book. I'm just like, oh, it's just like an empty book or something he threw a cover on or something. I'm like, no, there's like, I think it was pictures of you one time. I think it was the pictures of Calvin because you were teaming with him or something.
Yeah, it was. So, well, Calvin's pictures are all in his. Mine are of all of my gear, which means I pretty much fill up almost all of that book with everything that I have. Because there's no point in wearing the same thing twice, but sometimes you have to. It's hard being the best dressed person on the roster sometimes. But in mine, there's just lots of pictures of me and lots of different, extremely glittery things. Actually, Black Diamond, I broke the book, so I have to redo it. It's like I blame.
Oh no!
Well, I blame the two that we faced because I mean I had to hit him with something, and just so happens my book, and I knocked some of the letters off. It's rhinestones everywhere.
So you're training in Boston, and you found yourself in the greater Pittsburgh area here.
Yeah, I mean, when I to the school in Boston is Belltime Club.
Okay,
it's run by Bo Douglas, and he was trained by Killer Kowalski.
Nice.
And actually, it was funny. Like my first match ever. I've been doing this about a little over a year. I didn't really get to do much in Massachusetts because I was only there for a little bit of time, and most of the shows, it was hard to make connections up there, and most of the shows ran on the weekends, and I worked on the weekends, so my school always did a big show on like a Wednesday night. So I get there the first night, and I thought I was just helping with the ring and everything else like that, and I get there and like, oh, we're gonna put you in a battle royal. I'm like, okay, that's normal, like that's no problem. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then my trainer comes to me and he's like, okay, so I got to take you out of that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. He's like, so you're going to be in a tag team tornado match. I'm like, okay, like, not bad. So I go start talking to my partner, and then he comes back to me. He's like, I have to take you out of the tornado match. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's kind of like the only thing I was thinking of is like, oh no, you're going to be semi-main in a singles match. And I'm like, okay, like that's perfect. And then he brings over my opponent's this like 300-pound Samoan. I look at him and I'm like, really, Bo? Like, this is what I was like, I understand why I'm doing this, but I just feel like I'm getting punished right now. I was like, what did I do wrong?
But you're semi-main.
I know, exactly. After a card that had probably like 12, 13 matches on it. So it was probably like 11:30 at night on a Wednesday.
Classic.
So
Indy.
yeah, it was,
we got school in the morning.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know, exactly. But, no, I went out and had a really fun. I mean, it was a really good match, and that led to a couple other things before some life changes had to happen. And that's how I ended up here. I mean, I'd been talking. I came out last February to Pittsburgh just to kind of visit because I've been friends with Calvin and a few other people, and talking to them. I was like, you know what, I'm kind of got some vacation time I want to use up. I was like, well, I always want to go back to Pittsburgh. My family's from this area originally. Where I don't know. I just know my parents are Steelers fan, or my mom's a Steelers fan, and her family is.
So she's probably one of those classic expatriates that
yeah,
left when
kind of. I don't even think she lived here. I think it was just my grandparents that lived here. So I think she just hops on the bandwagon with that one. But no, I came out and visited and met like Palace and LaRusso and Mabo and Katie and like all the people out here, Calvin's friends, and I went to Pit Fight. And last year at Pit Fight, I had my stuff with me. I always do. Like one thing you learn, and literally I get there and they're like, "Oh, hey, we need a." I was like, "Do you want to be in the Rumble?" I was like, "Isn't it a 15-man Rumble?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it'll be number 16." So I went out and got in, and I literally was in there for maybe 5 seconds before my my attitude got me kicked out. And of course, Dombrowski is on the commentary, and he's known who I was before that, so I had to listen to that and was like, oh gosh. So yeah, but then I over the summer some things changed. Massachusetts, I really wanted to kind of leave the state behind, get a little bit more, have a little bit more fun, maybe do the wrestling a little bit more.
I don't hear much from New England wrestling.
It's really, there's a lot up there, and there's a lot of really talented people that come from up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like really, it's kind of its own little bubble.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like most of the people that I had trained with, they only really stick to New England, and there's quite a few promotions up there, and they just kind of share in between. But, I worked for my promotion, and then I also did a Matter Pride show up there in, back in May. So, I mean, I've done other shows. I've done shows in Florida prior to coming here. So, just for some like Pride events, things like that. So, good. But I came out here, and it was funny because I came out here just, went to IWC, the school, graciously enough, they let me participate, come out and, train a little bit.
Good.
Started going to shows and, was talking to Marshall, and he was like, oh, hey, well, it was through Hooven, and he was like, oh, hey, kind of need somebody for 2PW in September. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll do it if you want me to. I was like, that's no problem at all. And then I say yes, and I'm at an IWC show, and Hooven and Marshall walk up to me. He's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, did we not tell you what it's going to be? I'm like, no. And he walks up, he's like, oh, it's going to be a casket match. And I'm just like, oh crap. Really? I was like, so that's going to be my Pittsburgh debut. My Pittsburgh singles debut was a casket match with Bronco McBride.
I believe you were a fill-in for Jason Gorey.
Yeah. No, I was a fill-in. I didn't even. It was so anticipated. We didn't even need to do the roulette. So that was
yeah.
That was my first.
This was a show that just about every match had a roulette wheel. To choose the stipulation. And I think there was a Survivor Series tag and your casket match.
Casket match. I was like, great. Perfect.
Only announced stipulation on the card.
I was like, I'm good with that. So I went out and, I tried my hardest, but,
I just love.
I almost had him.
I just love. We didn't find somebody similar to Gory to.
I know, the complete opposite.
He's a complete opposite.
Complete Opposite. So you went from Gory, who's got this the very creepy, very horror look, and then you have me, who came out in a white jacket, pink scarf, and really bright silver and pink trunks. That
I think it would have been even more hilarious. If like, hey, he can't make it, but here's his best friend Tyler.
Yeah, there we go. That's what it was. Yep. I just kind of walked out. I'm like, you know what? Like I had my clothes rack there that I could put something on. And so, luckily she took it. She was smart enough to take it off her face to watch the match. So,
oh, good.
Thank you, Kayla.
Oh, good.
Shout out to Kayla.
So, and you kind of made the rounds here in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. We've seen you at Uprise, Ryse, as well as over in Black Diamond in West Virginia. I know in my circle of travels, at least. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of already ingrained here a little bit.
Trying. The biggest thing I did was just go and, talk to people, make friends, and, I help out with stuff when I can. I've really enjoyed going down to Ryse, especially I love it down there. They're really great. I enjoy helping them out any chance I get, even if I'm, not on the card. Definitely, the Ryse debut was a surprise, but it worked, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think you were filling for RPW with Calvin.
Well, yeah, who knows what happened to him?
No idea.
I don't know. He's gonna get his anyway, so it's okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
We were talking a little bit before that you started teaming with Calvin Couture as well.
Yeah. Just starting out basically at over at Black Diamond, the runway. Actually, we'll be heading out at the end of the month. We'll be in Indiana, working for World's Finest out there. So working a little stipulation because unfortunately Calvin had a 4-way. He didn't win, but I was the pre-show, so he didn't get the contract. But we can come back as a tag team, and quite honestly, if you've seen that poster, yeah, I'm like, we're the best dressed out there, so they really needed us to stay.
I have no idea what the fashion is like out in Indiana.
You don't want to know.
I don't think I've been.
I don't think there is any.
I don't know. I think I've driven through Indiana.
Yeah,
I might have skipped it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Do you even remember what it's like there? Yeah,
no,
not really.
That was like 15 years ago. No idea. No idea. So, tell me a little bit about, so you're still under a year? Is that right? Officially, you're under a year in the business.
Officially, yeah. So, I mean, prior to...
And you've already done like 5 states.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of nuts. Like, I don't know. I just kind of reach out to people, contrary to what Tyler is, being nice kind of goes a long way with that. But, just reaching out and, talking to different promotions. Like, I mean, I ended up at Eclipse, working there the past couple months because they came to the 2PW show, and really liked what I did. And they're like, we have to get him out here. We want to come out here. So I'm like,
good.
Okay. And then, going out to Indiana, Calvin was on the show, and I messaged guy. I was like, hey, I'm coming out. Like, do you have any need for another person? He's like, actually, do you want to be a pre-show show? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, technically, it wasn't really a pre-show. It was just the first match. He just called it the pre-show because I don't know why.
That interpretation's different. Interpretation's different.
Interpretation's different.
Are we on Facebook? Are we just while people are coming in buying hot dogs? What's happening?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it was just a match. So, but yeah, no, I just kind of, and I mean, next year's already filling up pretty well too. So
nice. It's
good to kind of get out here and just kind of make the rounds everywhere. And honestly, I'm under a year. I already won my first belt, like accidentally. But, yeah.
Was that Eclipse? Was it?
No, it was RAPW.
Okay.
Out in Youngstown. Actually, that was one of the other places I started doing singles, and then Calvin was the junior heavyweight champion, and then last show I kind of accidentally pinned him totally by accident. Not my fault. It's not my fault, not at all. So I'm good. I've stuck to that story.
I'm sure it'll work out fine.
Oh yeah.
So what is the best and worst thing about your first year in indie wrestling?
Best thing is actually meeting people and traveling around. I think that's the best, really. If I had really, I don't really know if there's like a worse thing that I could even think of. Like, I've made so many cool new people, met so many cool new people, been a lot of places I never thought I'd actually go. Just in general, work people that I never met, like I wouldn't even think of a million years to meet or anything like that, or even work them at all. But worst thing, actually hard to. Oh yeah, well yeah. Worst thing this past year is just keep on getting mistaken for Calvin. Probably. That happens a lot. That's totally unintentional. I had my character up in Massachusetts, and it was separate. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this up here. This is fine. And then I moved. I'm like, crap.
We already have a Calvin.
Yeah, we already have a Calvin.
So that has to be a little frustrating too, because do you get that? Do you get like we've already had a Calvin? Because it feels like
not really. Like I've changed. I've changed the character up a good bit. It doesn't really happen anymore. It's just it's funny, like, because we'll talk and be like, oh yeah, it's like somebody said they saw me at a show, and then I'm like, you weren't at that show. He's like, yeah, but you were. Yeah, that's right. So I mean, it's getting there. It's getting there. So it's I mean, being in a tag team, it works. I mean, it confuses people. So I guess that's good.
Yeah.
Who's the legal man? You're never gonna know.
You can pull some twin magic sooner or later. Since
eventually, that's what's gonna happen.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you found your kind of foothold here in Pittsburgh. I mean, God, just 6 months in, right? Something like that. So.
Yeah, here. Yeah. I mean, it's been. I mean, I've had so many. Almost every weekend, I've been somewhere doing something, which is great. So, this past weekend was even more traveling, so it was kind of good. And then, good way to spend birthday weekend. So not at home.
That's awesome. So, where can people find you online? I know you're back. I know I see
gosh.
you all the time on my Instagram. Before this guy pops up on any of the shows that I'm filming, I'm like, who's this Tyler Klein guy that keeps liking my stuff?
Everything. No, I have a Facebook. I've got a page. I've got Twitter. I've got my Instagram. Don't really need a LinkedIn. I don't think this is gonna work. For
You never know.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you can find me anywhere. Like just in general, just Facebook, Tyler Klein as a regular. Somehow I got the name, and was able to make a regular Facebook page. And then
What?
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I guess it's just because the first and last name.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even use.
It's not suspicious at all.
No, not suspicious at all.
No.
Considering the fact I don't even use like I think like my birthday was Monday, and I had notifications set from my regular Facebook and then my Tyler Klein Facebook, and they both have the same birthday on it, just for reasons. I'm like going through and I go to my regular Facebook, which I maybe touch twice a year, if that. Like I post a new photo, so people are just like, oh, not dead. There you go. People know I'm there. For people
That's good to know.
So people who know I'm not, who don't know I'm a wrestler. And then I have my Tyler one where you can see everything that I can post, and then it just turns into basically I get on my regular Facebook, like maybe 10 people would wish me a happy birthday, and I kind of laughed at it. I get on my Tyler one, it's like 500. I'm like, okay, that's I don't know. I know why I don't touch that anymore. So wrestling's kind of my little secret. That's why I live out here. Like my family doesn't know I do it, so I'm like waiting for that awkward family moment when I finally go home, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll be in New Jersey wrestling. Oh crap! I hope nobody
So
sees the
they're not aware that you're.
Oh no.
So wait. I guess so. This ruse has continued.
Oh, it's been going on for years. Yeah, no.
Wow.
This ruse continues. My siblings might know.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think they pay attention, which is
Interesting.
funny. Yeah. One's in California and one's in New Jersey. It never really talk about it, honestly. So
Until he pops up on TV and they're flipping through and be like,
yeah,
is that name redacted?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much. Hey, it's always awesome to chat with you at the shows. I'm glad you got in here in the studio to hang out with us as well. We got the social media, and of course, where generally are you popping up? Depending on where they listen to this, maybe not this weekend, but let's just say in the next couple of months. What areas are we going to see it popping up? Probably?
From what I understand, and talking like 2PW Eclipse, RAPW again, Black Diamonds, Indiana, working on some places in New Jersey potentially. I mean, really, like just in this past couple weeks, I've almost filled up every weekend in 2020 at this point. Yeah, whether it be singles or whether it be tag or whatever. There's only a few things. I mean, I'll be at WrestleMania, down at WrestleMania.
He'll be on WrestleMania.
I'll be on WrestleMania.
You heard it here first.
No, I'm actually I've been looking to reach out to a couple of things down there for Calvin and I are looking to tag or do singles down there.
Good. I haven't seen that. I've seen people already organizing their WrestleMania.
I've been sliding into
cars.
I've been sliding into Effie's DMs for his big gay brunch thing. So we'll see if that works. Shameless plug, but whatever.
And Effie's the greatest. We had a great conversation with him, and we were just talking about social media before the show. And if you want to learn anything, just listen to any of his interviews.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I still need to listen to his Gregory Iron one. Yeah,
it kills me every time.
The man had cologne, I believe.
Oh yeah, no, he had cologne,
his own cologne.
So many other different things. Like I keep on thinking, I was like, man, I'd like to work with him or at some capacity. And I'm like thinking, I don't think that's gonna work anywhere around here. Like maybe if I did, I was like looking to Florida. I was like, I could do it in Florida. I was like, there have been shows in Florida that I've been on that I've been able to do. So it's around. It's a more bar crowd. So there we go with that. That'll work.
That'll be awesome. Hey, I want to see Effie in Pittsburgh.
I'd love that. Would be great. I think, but it's like where would you see? Like even I feel like maybe Wrestle Rex will have him or something. That'd be great. Could work.
That'd be great.
And that's a possibility for Adonis to grab him.
Awesome. Hey, well, thanks again, Tyler Klein. Go check him out. Check out the shows, and of course, there's plenty of his matches are over on the Indy Wrestling Network. I believe.
Yeah, and all the gyrating like GIFs that you keep on posting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those.
You got Bouncer to gyrate with you.
I did get Bouncer to gyrate in the last match, so there we go.
I did it once, and I got a great reaction on Facebook from him. So
Best
I'm like,
quality.
well, okay, that's what I'm going to do. You get the gyrating. Jordan Styles gets when he poses with his Emmy in a Santa hat. Every time it just like gives me the thumbs up.
There you
know?
go.
I mean, you just have your signature thing. And give you as many versions as possible, right?
So exactly. So many different angles.
Thanks, everybody. Again, go check out IndyWrestling.us for everything going on, past and future interviews, a lot of great stuff, and we're already planning some great stuff for 2020 already scheduled. We got the end of Christian Manoir. We have Jacob Edwin that's been doing some great stuff, the professor over at Renegade Wrestling Alliance, as well as Gregory Iron. I think I'm only going to ask him questions about podcasting. So that's coming up just in January here. We hope you guys are having a happy holidays, and we'll see you guys next time. Until then, please support Indie Wrestling. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.